Welcome back. You're still watching VOP this morning. Now, Osita Chidoka, a former Minister of Aviation, has penned an open letter to the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, concerning what he described as violation of the country's laws by President Bola Tinubu's regime. Chidoka referenced the manner of recent removal of the leadership of the Central Bank of Nigeria and the EFCC, Nigeria's anti-corruption agency. He wondered if President Tinubu seeks the Attorney General's opinion in exercising his presidential powers. He stated the growing lawlessness and Gestapo tactics the government is deploying to achieve its objectives will deepen the damage the immediate past administration did to the country, Chido said. Now, in June, Tinubu suspended then-governor of the CBN, Godwin Emefiele, and the EFCC's chair, Abdul Rashid Bawa, over corruption allegations. The pair have remained in the custody of the State Security Service for over 4 months. While criminal charges are pending against Mr. Emefiele, Mr. Bawa has remained in detention without trial, announcing their replacements recently. The presidency said Mr. Emefiele and Bawa resigned their appointment to pave way for their successors, Oluyemi Kadoso and Olanipekun Olukoyede. Now, still with us virtually is Nick Agule. All right, Nick, what are your takes on this particular issue generally? All right, Nick. Okay.
Okay, so good morning. Yes.
Okay, so I said, what's
Yes,
your
can you hear
take
me?
on this? Yes, I can hear you, Nick. Yeah, I said, what is your take on this issue? I mean, what do you think about this open letter? Do you think he did well by pointing those issues out, or do you think, there are matters of concern at all?
Yes. So what I was saying is that the message is right, but the message is right, but the messenger is wrong. I know people who say that take the message and leave the messenger, but it's very hard to take it this time around from this particular messenger. And the reason why I say that is that Osita Chidoka he's still a member of the PDP. He was the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps in under the PDP government, and then he became a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria under the PDP government. And that PDP government is what installed the impunity in Nigeria that Osita Chidoka is complaining about now. Under that PDP government, of which he was a member, people were removed from office, like he's complaining against now. 5 members of the state legislature were used to impeach a governor. Court judgments were not obeyed. A court, even of the highest jurisdiction, like the Supreme Court of Nigeria, will pass a judgment, and then the Minister of Justice and the Attorney General of the Federation will come with his own interpretation of what that judgment is. And if that interpretation meant disregarding the ruling of the court, that was it. This was a government where electoral impunity was institutionalized, and it has to take whoever President Obasanjo wanted that we win election. In fact, PDP became so good at rigging elections that they said they will rule Nigeria for 60 years. The same government where corruption attained the highest levels in Nigeria. Osita Chidoka, where was he now? Where was he? Where was the letter to write? Did he not have paper and pen to write? So for me Someone like Chidoka is my friend on social media, but for people like him, I find it very difficult to take a message from them, no matter how right that message is. Because what he tells me now is that he's only complaining because he's out of power. The moment he gets back to power, he's going to be his old self under the PDP days. And for somebody like that, honestly, I would prefer the message to have come from someone else, not to Osita Jitoka, and not from him or any of those PDP apparatchiks that held Nigeria down for 16 years. I'm finding it so difficult to take the message, even as the message is correct.
All right, now let's overlook the messenger now. Let's focus on the message. Now, don't you think there should be laws that will protect the attorney, the AGF, from from the government, from the executive arm of government interfering, especially as it concerns appointments? Shouldn't there be laws that will prevent this, as against what we have at the moment?
Well, I think the laws are there. I think the laws are there in terms of how and who to appoint as chairman of the EFCC and the central bank governor, which are the two positions that we're talking about here. There are laws for other statutory bodies as well. So the laws that set them up make provisions for how the leadership will emerge and how the leadership can be removed from office. And for me, there were bills that were put before President Buhari, which he did not sign. And these are my issues with President Buhari. I mean, at his age, and given that he has ruled Nigeria, severally in the past, I don't know what was his problem for not allowing bills like that, which were meant to move Nigeria forward, by not putting his signature to the bills. And one of those bills was a bill that separated the office of the Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice. And that bill would have made it possible such that a Minister of Justice can be a politician. He is a political appointee. He can work for the government, and the party that brought him into office or whatever, that's fine. He's just like any other ministers in Nigeria. Why the Attorney General of the Federation would have been a professional legal advisor to the government, not just the executive arm of government, to the government in Nigeria, all the three arms of government in Nigeria. The man that will stand on the law and not on party or on political appointment or loyalty to the president or whoever. The man that will just stand on the law. And this bill was not assented to by President Buhari for whatever reasons. I don't even know. And President Tinubu, these are the kind of areas that I actually thought he was going to come and he was going to deal with immediately. But he came and he picked on bills like the student loan bill. He signed them. And he left other bills like this one I'm talking about, which to me started giving me some concern in my mind in terms of President Tinubu's will for Nigeria. Does he will Nigeria to be great, or is he just carrying on like before? So if we had that position in place, I believe that the Attorney General of the Federation, being a legal practitioner, being a professional, will be advising the government to say, no, this action as regards the EFCC chairman and the central bank governor does not follow the law setting up these organizations, and the matter should then be in court, but as we see now, everything is just happening like the military era, where the soldiers with the gun in their hand were able to run roughshod over our laws, in fact, suspending the constitution and all those kind of things, and carrying on as if there were no laws governing Nigeria. I think President Tinubu needs to take a look again at what is happening. These guys have been in detention. I mean, the two guys here.
Yes. I was going to come to that.
Yeah.
I was going to come to that. In the letter that Osita Chichidoka wrote, he likened this administration to a communist administration, because we see a situation whereby Abdul Rashid Babawa is still in detention. He hasn't been taken to trial, and we know what the laws of Nigeria says. They couldn't have arrested an individual and kept him for 24 hours to 48 hours without being tried. That's against the law. We also see a situation whereby Governor Emefiele is still in detention. We remember what happened between the correctional service officials and the DSS at the premises of the court, dragging the man. The government seems to be taking laws into its own hands, laws that the government itself, instituted, that now are being flouted. Now, do you see the resemblance of this administration with communist China, for example?
These are the instances that make me find it so difficult to accept the message because of the messenger. I wish Osita Chidoka had tabled his letter of resignation to President Obasanjo, that he served as FRSC corps commander, or he tabled his letter of resignation to President Jonathan, that he served as minister, to protest the communist actions of the PDP government that he served. If he did that, he would be my hero. And today I will be accepting these messages from him. But the fact that he consumed all that was part of it. He said, and if at all went to defeat, and then coming out to now say, current government is acting in a communist fashion. It's so bitter in my mouth to accept, because yes, if they are acting in a communist manner, he himself was in the government that acted worse.
But Nick,
why did he not protest against that?
Okay, now Nick, there's a holy book. There's a holy book that says, if I'm not mistaken, that says, should we remain in sin for grace to abound? Yes, we know that previous administrations have not done right by upholding the tenets of the law, but and some government officials were instrumental. I mean, they were part of those administrations. Now, should we now disregard statements from these former officials just because just because they joined an administration to flout the law? Shouldn't we be looking at ways of fixing the nation, regardless of who is crying foul?
I would have preferred that they write these letters and give them to people of honor, to put them out in the public space, to be honest. Because if that is not the case, then the way I just view them is that they are not complaining because they are out of power. If you give them the power, they will do worse than what they are complaining against. And for me, that is hypocrisy. I mean, you are standing on nothing and trying to make a point. But I agree with you that we can try to disregard the messengers and look at the message. Yes, President Tinubu's government has to act within the ambit of the law. I keep telling people that our young people, they are jackpying to all over the world. They are not jackpying to leave a good country and go, a bad country and go to a better country. No, the countries they are jackpying to, the living conditions there, like the winter, the cold, bitter winter that they go to face in Europe or North America or wherever. Whereas in Nigeria here, we have the sunshine. Look at it, it's already shining on my face here in Nasarawa State. We have this sunshine for 8 to 10 hours of the day. The beauty of our country and all of that. They couldn't be leaving this to go to where it is harsher. They are leaving a lawless place to go to a lawful place. That's what they're actually leaving to go to. And Nigeria can never be a good country. Nigeria will never be that country of our dreams if we are not running this country according to the laws. Because when God made, you made mention of the Holy Book. If you go to the Holy Book, you in the book of Genesis, for those who are Christian listening to us, immediately God made man and put him in the Garden of Eden. God gave man the law. You understand? And when man broke the law, God brought consequence management right there in the Garden of Eden. Those countries that our people are jackpying to, they are following that script. Make man, give him law, man breaks the law, consequence management. In Nigeria, we're not doing that. Yes, we make law, people are breaking the law, but there's no consequence management. And if we hope that we're going to get a Nigeria of our dream without that fourth pillar, which is consequence management, it's a pipe dream. We're joking, we're kidding. We can't make it happen. But
All
you
right.
know why? Elsewhere, yeah.
All right, Nick. Before we let you go, one final question for you. So, Osita Chidoka, he said something of importance. He said he wonders if the president seeks the opinion of the Attorney General before, carrying out some presidential, exercising his presidential powers, so to speak, in the recent removals. What do you think of this? What do you think is the role of the Attorney General of the Federation in these removals?
Well, whether the president seeks the advice of the Attorney General or not, if Osita Chidoka himself was Attorney General under President Obasanjo or President Jonathan, and his view was sought, of course, I know that he was going to bind it to the whims and caprices of the leaders that he served. So the Attorney General, and this is why I made mention of the fact that it is better for President Tinubu to have got a Minister for Justice who will be acting in the political arena, and then an Attorney General to be a professional to advise him. He doesn't even have that. His current Attorney General is a political appointee, and you expect that he's going to band it to the whims and caprices of the president, the same way Osita Chidoka himself would have done under the government that he served. So I don't think whether he consulted or didn't consult, there will be a difference in the outcomes that we're experiencing right now. The important thing here is that President Tinubu needs to be a statesman. He needs to be a nobleman. He needs to be a nationalist. He needs to be that president we're looking for, who will stand on the law and implement the law the way it is stated, regardless of who is on the other side. And I was about to make the point that elsewhere, in the UK, US, Canada, all the places our people are running to, it is the people themselves who are putting the leaders' feet to fire, upon fire, to ensure that these leaders stand by the law. Anytime they see that the leaders are trying to deviate from the law, the people come up against the leaders. How many times have Nigerians come up against President Tinubu because they believe that he's standing against the law? If we remain this docile, taking everything that is thrown at us, there's no way we are going to have that country that we desire. And our people that are jackpine, when they go there, they join the people over there to protest, to leaders. So we must have to start those protests here. The leaders have to know our mood, that there are certain things they will do, and Nigerians will be angry. And until we get to that point, we have not yet started nation building.
All right, then. A big thanks to you, Nick Agule. We always appreciate your contribution on the program. At this point, we have to let you go. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Nick Agule. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll delve into
Thank you.
business.
Have a nice day, Nigeria.
All right. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll delve into business, and then we'll have entertainment and sports as well. Stay with us.